Welcome to How to Cake It. Football season is starting. I don't watch football. It's okay though, because I do know that people like to eat a lot when they watch football. So I'm making a nacho cake. This is nacho average cake. Who's with me? Who's joining Team Cake? Who's in?
All right, I'll be in.
Oh, all right. You have to be more enthusiastic.
Okay, I want it.
All right. I want all of you to be on my team with me.
Aww.
No, not you, Jocelyn. Welcome to How to Cake It. If you want the full breakdown of ingredients, tools, and step-by-step instructions on how to make this cake, just head to my blog at howtocakeit.com or click the link in the description below. First things first, we have to make nachos, because this is nacho average cake. I'm gonna say this as many times as possible. I'm warning you, we're gonna have a contest. You need to count how many times I say it. So I have some plain flour tortillas here. They're 6 inches round. We're gonna begin by cutting each tortilla into 8 wedges. You can cut a few at a time. I'm cutting like 6 at a time. So start by cutting them in half and then in half again. So they're in quarters. And then cut all of the wedges in half diagonally. Now take all of your tortilla wedges and lay them onto baking trays. Mine are lined with silicone mats. You can use parchment paper. You don't want to pile them on top of each other. You just wanna lay them all out separately. It doesn't matter how close they are, they're not gonna spread. These are nacho average cookies.
2.
That was 3, Chet.
That was 3.
No, I wasn't counting.
Now we're gonna sweeten up these nachos. I have melted butter here, and you just need a brush. I like to use these silicone brushes sometimes because they don't give off any brush hairs. All you have to do is take your melted butter and brush it onto the surface of your tortillas. Brush it, cover the surface. Each tortilla should be well coated in butter. Delicious. Now we need to make our sugar and spice mixture, which will make our nachos sweet and tasty. I have some sugar here, and what I'm gonna do is add cinnamon and nutmeg and stir it all up. Now all you need to do is use this special tool and sprinkle your spicy sugar all over these tortillas. Just sprinkle a nice layer so each one has a layer of spicy sugar. Now that they're all coated, these are nacho average nachos.
4.
Good job, Chet. What you wanna do is do the same process to the rest of your tortillas. Coat them in butter, coat them in spicy sugar, and then you're gonna bake them at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. They're gonna get crispy. I want this cake to look like a plate piled high with nachos, so that's why we're using cake as a base, and because this is how to cake it. So I made 2 9-inch round chocolate cakes, which I'm going to remove from their pans and level. For my second cake, I'm actually going to leave the hump on top because it lends itself to the shape that I want to carve. And I'm just gonna cut this cake in half. To fill this chocolate cake, I have made cream cheese frosting. I'm just gonna unstack my chocolate cake. Don't forget to simple syrup your cake. You can get this handy bottle that I always use on my website, howtocakeit.com. This is nacho average simple syrup bottle.
17.
We're not at 17. Spread your cream cheese frosting just to the edges of your chocolate cake. You can get my cream cheese frosting recipe in the link below. I used it in my cakearoni and cheese video. I'm gonna throw this cake in the fridge and move on to making guacamole buttercream. It's nacho average buttercream.
29.
Chet! I'm gonna dye my Italian meringue buttercream to look like guacamole. The recipe for this buttercream is found in the description below. I'm using a combination of colors here. I'm using lemon yellow, buttercup yellow, golden yellow, and moss green. And often when I'm dyeing buttercream to look sort of a natural color or a color that's hard to accomplish, I'll take a little bit and put it in a smaller bowl and work with that and play with my food coloring. I'm gonna keep my colored portion of buttercream here as a measure, and I'm gonna color the rest of my buttercream to match, and then I'm gonna stir it all together. I'm gonna add my original buttercream. Woo! You can't even tell the difference. So until they make guacamole colored food coloring, this is how you do it. Time to cut up our candy toppings for our nacho cake. I have black licorice here, which I'm gonna cut to look like olives. If your licorice is really sticky, you can use a bit of vegetable oil. Just wipe it on your knife carefully and continue cutting. I'm gonna use a number 12 round piping tip to cut the holes in my olives. Now I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna cut some green pepper chunks from green wine gums. I'm also gonna cut up these red wine gums to look like chopped red pepper in my guacamole. And finally, I'm gonna cut up these red gummies to look like tomato slices. The end result of this cake is supposed to look like a pile of nachos on a plate. So I wanna shape this cake and just carve some of it away to look like a little mound, a little mountain. I do want this mound to be imperfect because I feel like nachos are just kind of tossed on a plate. Nacho average cake.
106.
I'm gonna ice this mound of cake with guacamole buttercream. You know what? This is really nacho average cake because I'm not gonna chill in between my crumb coat and my icing. Ow, that hurt.
Are you okay?
I think I shifted something. I was trying to channel Macaulay Culkin Home Alone. Before I ice this cake again and start to add my sweet nachos, I'm going to move it to a platter. So I know we coated these nachos with cinnamon, sugar, and nutmeg, but we're actually gonna put this side down. So you're still seeing great nachos, but when you eat them, they taste sweet. Just gonna add a little more guacamole buttercream as glue for my nachos. And again, you don't have to do a perfect ice. I'm gonna ice this cake as I go along. So I'm starting with the bottom portion. I'm gonna add some nachos and then I'm gonna ice some more, add some nachos and work my way up. Just stick your nachos right into the cake. Try not to stick them all in the same direction because nachos are kind of thrown on the plate. Time for more buttercream. I'm gonna add a little more buttercream to the top of this cake. And then what you wanna do up here is kind of lay the nachos on top so that not poking up like a porcupine. You know what, guys? This pile of nachos is getting out of hand. I think I need a bigger platter. What does Team Cake think?
Bigger platter.
Bigger platter.
Woo! Wait, what's the score in football? Hold on. Touchdown! Got my candy toppings. I'm just gonna take a little bit of milk chocolate and a little bit of dark chocolate. I'm gonna melt this compound chocolate in my microwave 20-second increments at a time, making sure to stir in between. I want it to be melted but not piping hot. Okay team, my chocolate is melted and it's nice and smooth. I'm just gonna throw in some of my cocoa rice puffs. I'm gonna stir this up and I'm gonna mix all these things together to look like ground beef. I'm gonna throw in black jelly beans into my ground beef. Now before your chocolate begins to set, use a spoon and distribute your ground beef black bean mixture all over your nachos. Try and get your ground beef and black bean mixture into some of the crevices. There's nothing more annoying than getting nachos and all the good stuff's on the top and then after you eat the top, they're just plain. That is annoying. Nobody on my team better do that. I'm gonna throw on some more toppings and add a bit of color. It's cheese time! This is my modeling chocolate. I've used it tons of times on How to Cake It. You can make it yourself. Go to howtocakeit.com. I dyed it orange so it would look like cheddar cheese. And now I'm gonna cut it and grate it right onto these nachos. You know that anytime I use cheese on How to Cake It, my little friend comes out. This is MVP, for real. Don't get too close. You want to slightly melt your modeling chocolate. You don't want to burn your nachos. You just want to kind of see the chocolate shine. Okay, team. We're almost done. We're moments away from the big finale. I've got the rest of my guacamole buttercream. And then remember, we cut up some red wine gums, and these are gonna look like little chopped red pepper in our guacamole. Okay, I'm guacking. I'm just spreading out my guac. I wanna make like a little guacamole bowl at the top because I have one last surprise for my nachos. Final touch. I made a little bit of 7-minute frosting, just a tiny bit, and it's going to be my sour cream in the middle of my guacamole. Touchdown for Team Cake. Touchdown! The rolling pin, the icing, the piping. Yes! 10 hut! This is gonna take me a while.
Where's Yo?
Yolanda? Yolanda, are you? Oh Lord.
Guys. Oh no. I'm gonna do it. I'm in it for the win. See you next week on how to cake it. This is nacho average cake.
1 million.
1 million.
Touchdown.